Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to be looking at 15-6, solve a simpler problem and make a table. So we are going to be working off of pages 410 and 411. So let's kind of take a look at number 1. Cora is cutting a piece of paper to get equal sized pieces. After the first cut, she stacks the 2 pieces and makes another cut. So first things first, she's taking a piece of paper. I'm going to use this envelope right here as a sample. So she's taking the paper and then she's making sure that it's equally divided in half. And then it's getting cut. Okay. And then she's stacking the 2 pieces on top of each other. So before we had 1 piece and now we have 2. That's exactly what's being said right now. Okay. So after the first cut, she stacks the 2 pieces and makes another cut. So that means she's going to do this again and cut these in half again. So instead of now having 2 pieces, I'm now going to have 4 pieces. Okay. So if this pattern continues, how many pieces will she have after the 4th cut? So that's what we need to know. So if we take a look right here, so cut 1, we had 1 piece and it was cut into 2. Then on cut 2, we started with 2 and we ended up with 4. Then on the 3rd time around, we started with 4 pieces and ended up with 8. So hopefully you guys have seen, well, the pattern looks like it's doubling each time. So by the 4th cut, we're going to start with 8 pieces, but we end up with a total of 16. So we end up with 16 at the end. Okay, so let's take a look at problem number 4. Troy is helping his father build a fence. Each section of the fence has a post at each end. So I look at this as this is one section of the fence. Okay, so if I have one section, maybe there's like a lattice or something that we can try to draw so we kind of help make it, I have a better visual, right? Each section of the fence post has a post at each end. Make a table showing how many posts will be needed if there are 1, 3, 5, 10, 15, or 20 sections of the fence. I also noticed question number 5, and I built question number 5 in as 47. So if you take a look, I've kind of started the table and we can work on this and help fix and finish off the table if we'd like. So if you guys need some time, go ahead and take some time to pause the video and make sure that you're writing down this information. So if we take a look, if I have one section of the fence, so section, and then we have posts. So 1 needed 2. If I have 3 sections, notice I'm going to have section 1, section 2, section 3. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 posts. If I have that 5th section, I'm going to add that on. Well, I'm just going to add on 1 more post. So now I have 6. So when you take a look at this and you say, well, now I have 10. If I'm going to have 10 sections, what do you guys think is going to happen next? Hopefully, you guys guessed correctly by saying 11, because notice there's a pattern where it's continually just adding up by 1. So that means 15, if I have 15 sections, I'm just adding on 1 more post. So I will end up with 16. 20 will end up with 21. And 47 will end up with 48. And boys and girls, I know some of you guys like to draw your diagrams. You're more than welcome to draw your diagrams as well to help make this make sense. So now let's kind of skip over to problem number 6. Helen is part of a 32-player one-on-one basketball tournament. As soon as a player loses, she is out of the tournament. The winners will continue to play until there is one champion. How many games are there in all in this tournament? And I know some of you guys, this is a lot of information, so let's kind of work on it together and break it down. So we know that there are 32 players, or on a one-on-one. And we know that if there are 32 players, we're going to start out with 16 games. And how I came up with that number is I just took 32 and I divided it in half. So let's take a look really quick. 32 divided by 2. See, 16. So now when I'm looking at this, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to half 16 and I'm going to end up with 8. Then I'm going to half 8 and end up with 4. Then I'm going to half 4 and end up with 2. Then I'm going to half 2 and end up with 1. Kind of like if you were to look at a bracket in a tournament, that's kind of how I'm doing this. I'm breaking it down. Now, when I add all of these together, I'm going to end up with 31 games. So now let's take a look at problem number 7. So problem number 7 says the figure below is a square. Whoops, sorry guys. The figure below is a square. That means all sides are the same. But what they're saying is if sides A and B are doubled, will this figure still be a square? And the answer is no way. Because if this was 2 and this was 2 and suddenly this became 4 and that became 4, then it's no longer a square, is it? It's now become a rectangle because the opposite sides are the same. But in order for it to be a square, remember all sides have to be the same. Okay, so now let's take a look at questions 8, 9, and 10. And 8, 9, and 10, if you can see, has this schedule right here. So what I did for ease of use is I copied the schedule down for us to be able to work on together. So let's take a look at this. The missing classes in the schedule to the right are math, science, reading, spelling, and social studies. Math is after morning break. Spelling is at 9:40. So if we know that spelling is at 9:40, I'm going to put it in right here. And we just said that we know that math is after morning break. So meaning it could be here, could be here or here, right? Because now what we're looking at is, so let's keep looking. Reading and science are the 2 afternoon classes. Ooh, well then if you know that reading and science go here, then that must mean math goes here, just like a puzzle. So what class, boys and girls, would be at 8:45? So let's take a look. What classes did we have in total? We know that we had math, science, reading, spelling, and social studies. Well, we knew that spelling automatically was at 9:40. We knew that math was after the break, but not in the afternoon. Oh, we know that science and reading have to take place in the afternoon. So therefore, our 8:45 class, the only thing left, social studies. Now, let's take a look at question 10, because we know we're not 100% certain which one of these are. So let's double check and see what question number 10 has to say. Science class is before reading. Well, then ultimately science must go here and reading must go here. So sometimes, if you guys take a look at these, a lot of the questions are written in different ways using different types of tables. And that's kind of what we're going to be working on today. So boys and girls, I hope that makes a lot more sense to you guys. If you guys are getting stuck, please don't hesitate to send me a quick Google chat or email, and I'll be happy to set up a Zoom session and work with you one-on-one, or you can also watch the Pearson video.